All right, we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Home Service Hustle. I am your host, Jonathan Bannister, and I'm with my good friend and amazing human, Brad Hone. Brad, thank you so much for coming on today, dude.
Jonathan, it is an absolute pleasure. I know you and I have known each other a few years going back, and we keep saying we're going to do this, but life gets in the way, and I have failed you miserably over the last year and a half, 2 years to make this happen, but we have finally dialed it in.
And it's all right. You know, the special things are worth waiting for. And I've been on stage with you. We've spoken at several events, and you are one of my favorite people to listen to because you are super passionate about everything that you deliver. You're crazy knowledgeable about this industry, especially about the IEQ space. And, we share similar backgrounds. We're both in law enforcement. So I do want to kick things off there. You were a deputy sheriff. I was a police officer, but kind of talk about where that future was going to be for you. And I mean, was that going to be the end game until you got hurt? And talk about the injury.
Yeah. So as I imagine from working with thousands and thousands of technicians across the country, hundreds of contractor owners and leaders, my story is I went to college and failed miserably and wasted a lot of my parents' money, which my mother is sitting in the other room. And you know what? I just wasn't good at it to start out of the gate. But I always had a servant mentality. And, when I talk about this with individuals, every day, and I say that, I get a look from them like, man, servant mentality. Well, heck, we're all in the service industry, right?
Yeah.
So a servant mentality is simply getting the enjoyment out of helping people. And with that attitude that I always had, a good friend of my father's and one of my mentors in life hired me as a bailiff in Akron, Ohio, out of college. And I was a bailiff. And while doing that, I became a law enforcement officer to be able to carry my firearm in his courtroom and help and go out and serve papers, those types of things. Fast forward, I worked 3 years there and become a deputy sheriff in Akron, Ohio, and loved what I did, but I wasn't making the kind of money that I wanted to make to raise a family. So another one of my mentors came to me and said, hey, man, would you be interested in selling some stamp colored concrete as a side job on top of your midnight shift or whatever, you're working as a deputy? I'm like, well, heck yeah. So, I met his son, who became one of my best friends, that tragically was killed in a car accident a few years back. And he had a concrete company, and he taught me everything there was to know about residential concrete and going out and seeing homeowners and just treating them the way I would like to be treated. Because the number one complaint that I didn't realize back then in contracting was, first of all, getting someone to answer the phone to come give you a bid, getting them to show up, and then getting them to follow up and send the quote, because nobody back then would do the quote on scene. They would send it in an email or mail it out to them. And I was like, why the hell aren't we just doing it right there on the spot? If someone teaches me enough to be successful and do it right there. And that's what I did. I was able to have a significant amount of income created for myself, and made more doing that than I did as a law enforcement officer. That I was like, son of a gun, man, kind of onto something. Never wanting to retire as a police officer. Right. I was just always going to, you always hear firemen are dudes that are working side jobs. They're electricians on the side. They do all kinds of stuff. Well, unfortunately, but fortunately, I was in a severe traffic accident and had a severe head injury where I was forced to retire and didn't know what I was going to do with myself. And, got lucky and stumbled into the HVAC industry over 20 some years ago. And Service Experts hired me as a GM at the time and taught me how to run a heating and cooling company. And that's how it all started. But, we'll talk as we go. A lot of things have changed for me since that injury to what I do now. And, one of those is every day I wake up, I thank God, because I've heard a lot of people since that accident that have been in a lot less head injury type of situations that lose their life. And you know what? I live my life on a few things, and that is thanking him every day I wake up. Now, I know sometimes I talk like, I have a foul mouth, but that's the passion that I like to say comes out of me. I ask for forgiveness all the time, but I wake up, I choose my attitude, and then I treat people the way I want to be treated, and then I kick everything's ass that steps in front of me every day.
I love it. So look, we're going to cover marketing, mindset, and money. So you just kind of touched on, you choose your attitude and your mindset when you wake up, and you're going to kick everything's ass in your way. Have you always been that way? Has things changed over the last, 10 years, 15 years as Brad gets older? Like, kind of talk through what your mindset has progressed to.
So I want to say that as a young man, a young kid, I was always talented in sports and just everyday life. But I truly, besides my parents held me accountable to a light degree. And my mom is my hero. My dad, absolutely. But it wasn't truly until I became a law enforcement officer that someone truly held me accountable. And to the point where, he came to me and said, you know what, you're an average cop. And I'm like, what? I thought I was one of the better ones. And, that was a turning point in my life where someone truly had the guts to hold me accountable to achieve, because, I'm an average person at best. But this guy saw in me that he could get extraordinary results out of me, out of an ordinary dude, if he held me accountable.
Right.
And that's the day my life, I believe, truly changed, is that someone holding people accountable is the hardest thing that's going on in our world today. It doesn't matter if it's your children, your kids, your family members, or a leader in an organization. I truly believe that's the number one fail that is going on in the world today. Is we say we hold people accountable, but that's not throwing numbers on a board and saying, hey, your KPI or your benchmark is to hit $450 in your average service ticket every day.
Right.
Hold them accountable is showing them, teaching them, leading a man to water and teaching them how to fish, and not just telling them how to do it. And that is truly when it, over 25 plus years ago is when I really started stepping up my game to say, you know what, man, I can do better than average things. And it was someone having the guts to hold me accountable.
So you say you're an average person. You think that has anything to do with because you're from Ohio? And I only say that because my kids show me these memes all the time with these jokes. There's some running jokes going on about state of Ohio. I didn't know it was such a funny, like a funny punchline, but there's some funny
I don't know.
There.
I don't know what these punchlines are. So is your son a Michigan fan? A Wolverine fan?
No, he's actually an Ohio State fan, but no, like it's these. I'll have to send you some. There's some memes out there about Ohio, like just this basic ass state, and I'm going like I didn't know it was a punchline, but
yeah, man, there's some great people that have come out of the state of Ohio.
Do you also reside in Tennessee sometimes as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my 3 grown kids live in my home in Nashville, and I now have a home in Akron, Ohio. Okay. And I used to split time back and forth, but my fiance Christy and I have a house here in Ohio that I've been with her with 12 years. And I'll tell you, I know how you feel about Lauren, and I truly wasn't. I've always been mildly successful, but when I met her is when it took off, because she allows me to go do what I do. I'm on the road. I've already spent 72 nights in a hotel this year. And she allows me to go do what I do and say, you know what, Brad, just go kick ass, because right. I love what I do. I do not have a job, Jonathan. I wake up and I feel like it is my duty and obligation. R&D does not stand for research and development in this industry. It stands for rob and duplicate. And I stole that shit right there from my boy J-Dub Moneymaker. He always says it's his duty and obligation to go into someone's business, go into someone's home, and we'll talk about that as we go, and truly deliver what it is we're supposed to be doing. And that is, to identify and show them what they have going on, whether it's, in their workout routines, whether it's in their home with their comfort system, and anything in business. So
let's talk a little bit about the accountability part. Where do you think the huge disconnect is there? I mean, obviously you've got the amazing shops, and I'm not going to say amazing shops that they're the $80 million shops, because I actually think some of those shops are some of the worst ran in the country. Right? They're just covered up by a bunch of bullshit. But the shops that are well ran, put together, where does the disconnect between, like you said, the guy that taught you with the concrete stamping, like to go in, take care of a customer from start to finish and truly care about that person, care about the project, care about, how they feel when you enter their home, when you leave their home? What has happened where you're talking about, holding somebody to their KPIs and to their numbers just isn't enough? And I agree. Like, I've had owners look at me, some basic check-in and review software that we use to help you get reviews, to help you with your SEO. The owners look at me and go, I'll never forget. This is a guy, I'll tell you offline, you probably know him. He was with a manufacturer first, now owns an air conditioning company. And he looked at me one day and said, I mean, Jonathan, I can't get the guys to do it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I was like, I'm looking at him. I'm at his place. I'm in Tennessee. And I'm looking at him, and he had this square window that went out to the warehouse. And I'm looking, and I see his guys out there in the warehouse. And I said, hey, let me ask you a question. I was like, what are they wearing? What are those guys out there wearing? He was like, what do you mean? They're wearing their uniforms. And I'm like, okay, but why aren't they wearing a Memphis Grizzly basketball jersey? Like, we're here in this state. Why are they not wearing it? He goes, what do you mean they can't? Like, and I'm like, so if they can't wear what they want to wear, why can they also do whatever they want to do or not do what they want to do? Right. I mean, and I said, but I'm not your business consultant, and I'm not going to tell you how to run your business. I just don't understand why you're paying them to do what they want to do instead of what is going to help your business and help the customers have a better experience. So where does that disconnect come from?
Here's where it comes from. Owners and leaders of heating and cooling companies usually don't have anyone that they report to hold them accountable.
Okay.
It's up to them. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you that the hardest thing I've ever done was running a heating and cooling contracting company. It wasn't a deputy sheriff and getting called out to calls and dealing with the worst of the worst people. I mean, hell, if I had someone ask me today, now times have changed from being a police officer. It's not as,
right.
It's a lot different today. But if 10 years ago, somebody said, Brad, would you rather go back to be a police officer or a GM of a heating cooling company? I would have said, I'll go back to be a police officer, because the company that I relocated for out of Cleveland down to Nashville, where my family still is, and we have roots there, and they're not leaving Nashville. They love it. When I relocated there, that company was losing $120,000 a month. It had lost $1.3 million the rolling 12 months before I got there. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing people out there that are gurus in our industry that say, if you've never started something from scratch, you shouldn't be teaching and telling people how to run their companies. Right. Are you freaking kidding me? You mean to tell me that some of the greatest coaches in the world, Bill Belichick, was an all-star or all-pro linebacker? Hell no. You know what he did? He's self-accountable, and he got people to follow him. So what I did, Jonathan, is the first 3 months I got to that company in Nashville, I had to figure out what was going on. And there was a whole lot of nothing going on. There was no culture. There was no passion. There was no attitude. There was no sense of belief. And there sure as hell wasn't no accountability. So just like you said, what's the disconnect with owners across the country in the world today in their own businesses is we think we can tell a group of techs, hey, man, this is what I want you to do. This is the process. This is what I want you to do moving forward, and you're going to follow it. Well, you know what? It doesn't work that way. Okay. I don't know about you, but if we go to Google right now and put in how many days does it take to create a positive habit, it's probably going to spit up between 20 and 30 days it takes to create a positive habit.
Right.
So I'm going to tell a grown ass man or woman, you need to go do this and do it my way. And that's it. Moving forward. It ain't happening. It is not happening. So what we need to do, just like if you asked your child to make their bed moving forward, I'm going to give you $5 a day to make your bed. You know how long that would last? Until they made enough money to buy that next Game Boy cartridge or whatever it is they wanted, and they would stop it.
Yep.
So what I did is I simply, we are up to 15 sales associates at Air Scrubber today. Last year, this time we were at 6, and we have grown it to 15. And I lead the sales team with my partner, Ray Lockery. And we live it by these type of principles to show someone how to conduct and hold themselves accountable. You as a leader have to do it for them until it becomes repetitious behavior, where it becomes embedded in their head that this is just the way it's going to go moving forward. I simply did this, and I shouldn't give this out here today, but hopefully after I give this out here today, you're going to be like, man, I need to call Brad and get him and his team in here. And by just investing in selling Air Scrubber with your organization, you get a group of dudes that are going to come in and help you make more money than you ever thought possible by doing all the right things in the industry. I told a group of 20 some technicians, hey man, you need to follow this process. And we trained on it. We role played on it. I brought underperformers in. As a GM, I would call one tech every week. Or one tech was assigned to me every week that had to call me from every house he was in. This call-by-call management that is going on across the country is absolutely phenomenal. I was doing it 15 years ago and had no clue. I wish I was more brilliant because I'd be a multimillionaire now because I would have created that or jumped in with the Joe Crasaros of the world and helped do it. But I simply had to tell them, hey, man, this process is going to work. It is good for us. It's good for you. It's good for the homeowner. Back to J-Dub. It is our duty and obligation to go in someone's house and just identify what's going on and bring it to their attention. So I simply put in a process. I had 5 or 6 inside sales associates, people that were already in there working, CSRs, a lead coordinator who was absolutely phenomenal for me. If she's watching this, her name was Lori Lukin. She will be like, oh my God, Brad mentioned me on the podcast. And we would simply call the homeowner the next day and say, hey, Mr. Homeowner, my tech Jonathan was in your house yesterday. Can I ask you a few quality questions? Sure, go ahead. Was he on time? Was he professional? Did he put on his floor savers before he entered your home? Blah, blah, yep. And then today with the operating procedures that we have, the service titans of the world and all those companies. Hey, Mr. Jonathan or Miss Lauren, my tech Jonathan uploaded some pictures into our operating system showing that your system has a lot of microbial growth going on. Did he talk to you about the air scrubber? And the homeowner is going to say, man, I got no idea what you're talking about. And we're going to do that for all 4 of Jonathan's customers today. And if it goes a day, hey man, maybe he had a bad day. Day 2, 4 more customers didn't get talked about. And we all know that 90% of systems we open up when we go out to do a precision tune-up on or a diagnostic a call on a furnace, air handler, heat pump, or air conditioner, it's infested with growth. And we go inside and we open it up and we're not talking to the homeowner, shame on us. We're not doing our job. So we would simply bring that tech in and sit them down and say, hey, John, you said this was a great product. You believe in it. You know the process. Dude, why aren't you sharing it with the homeowner?
Right.
That's accountability at a high level.
All right. So let's talk right there for a second.
Yep.
Why I've heard, I think probably each end of the spectrum here of why are we not talking more about opportunities that allows us to sell more add-on equipment? Like we just came through the amazing time of the century with COVID. We're past that. And I think more than ever, it's the easiest conversation to roll into. But I've heard you on stage, and this is obviously, let's get into the good stuff. So let's talk about why or how people can add to their average tickets. Talk about some of the percentage I've heard you talk about on stage, what the average air conditioning company is making around the country, like 5-7% net profit they're taking home. Talk about how they could sell more of this, how much easier it'd be for them to bring more money home. And it's a substantial amount. We're not talking, they think, oh, I'm only making a couple $100 here or there. So get into the numbers. But first, I want to hear, what are some of the things that keeps these contractors from wanting to make this part of their process to every single call and actually following up and holding people accountable that it is being talked about? Is it fear?
No. Well,
ignorance?
You know what? It's a lot of both of those.
Okay.
And my mentor today is the president of a huge organization. Okay. And I won't name him, but he, when I took over a certain company that was losing a ton of money, he said to me simply, Brad, you got 20 techs. Your average ticket's $115. He goes, I don't care if you got to get rid of 75% of them and roll with 25%, because here's what's going on right now. He goes, we are doing the homeowner a disservice by going into their house and not identifying and telling them what they've got going on. It'd be like you and I not feeling well. 2, 3, 4 weeks, something's wrong in our body. We know we're sick. We got to figure it out. And we go into the doctor, and the doctor says, hey man, we're going to run some blood tests on you. And we'll get in touch with you and tell you the results. Okay, Dr. Jonathan, you call me, tell me to come in, and you say, and I say to you before you give me the results, hey doc, if it's bad, keep that shit to yourself. I don't want to know about it. Why are we any different? The homeowner calls a professional, us, to come out and provide a service, and then we aren't doing it. You want to know the single reason I think it is? As I said, it's hard freaking work, Jonathan. It is hard work for an owner, a leader, to hold their people accountable and put processes in place instead of just throwing them a set of keys and letting them go do what they do.
Right.
And bring back $150 average ticket, man. So let's take a small company. I would say the majority of companies, HVAC, plumbing, electrical companies out there are 3, 4, 5-man trucks. Okay. Less than 10 employees. You work with a ton of those, right? Yep. Is that the majority of your business?
Yeah. Less than 5 million, somewhere in that $2 to $4 million range.
All right. So let's just take a guy that's just starting out and he's doing $1 million in top line revenue. Okay. He's got 4 techs, 1 install crew, 1 comfort consultant that might be himself, hopefully. And he's putting up 2 to 3% net profit. We know the numbers. I heard this from a huge organization that said in the United States of America, there's 165,000 plus or minus, depending on the time of year, because it's the #1 business that goes out of business. 165,000 licensed contractor. Over 90% of them, Jonathan, make less than 5% net profit. So let's say we got $1 million organization putting up top line million. He's putting $50,000 to the bottom line. Each tech is in 4 houses a day. So this group of 4 technicians, they're in 20 working days a month. So each tech is in 80 homes a month. There's 4 of them. That company's in 320 houses a month. So let's say that my team and I come in and work with a company, and we put together processes, a rehash follow-up program that shows how to call the homeowner to check to make sure my tech Jonathan is doing what's expected of him, because that's, the obligation. The duty and obligation is to deliver world-class customer service, treat people the way we want to be treated, because good things happen to good people. And that tech is able to convert 32 scrubbers, or that company, I'm sorry. I'm getting excited. We're in 320 homes. We can show you how to convert 10% of those 320 homes into a scrubber opportunity for a homeowner. Okay. So that's 32 scrubbers for the month. Yeah. And let's say $1,500 ticket. Okay. It's $48,000 a month in top line revenue. At a 60% gross margin, it's like $28,800 in gross margin. Well, that gross margin times 12 months is an extra $336,000 to the net line, to the net profit. So now that $1 million company that is having a hard time growing.
So you were talking about the added revenue that could be generated. You and your guys will come in. You pretty much say, hey, look, We know that we can do training, both classroom style training, ride along training, role playing training. We can get your guys selling 10% of the jobs that they go to. They could be selling some of this, the services that you'll offer. And you gave this very conservative and low number of a smaller company, 320 calls a month, 32 jobs, average 1,500. I've seen the financing, our buddy Seth, does some of these with us at Good Leap. Yep. And it's like how easy it is to add some of this equipment to finance. And it only adds a couple, dollars, like a couple dollars to get it, added to your home with these packages. So talk about why would they not be doing this? And what needs to happen for these people listening that say, okay, great, let's get Brad out here.
So, and everything you said was absolutely right. Are we going to have some turnover with individuals that don't believe in the mission statement that our company has? Absolutely, man. It's what makes the world go round. Just like I'm not everybody's flavor. They might not like, what I have to say or want to be a part of what I'm doing. But, at the end of the day, we're simply trying to do a few things, three things. The three C's. If it's good for the customer, the homeowner, and it's good for the company, and it's good for the coworker, how can you go wrong? And with our validations of our product, which is the best indoor air quality, but air and surface purification the world's ever discovered, man, you hit the numbers right on the head. 320 homes, this simple 4 tech company is going to be in. He's going to put an extra $336,000 to the net line. So, that's generating an extra $576,000 in revenue. So now a $1 million company is now $1.5 million in revenue. Okay. Instead of being 5% net, he now has created an extra $336,000 of net profit, plus the 5% that they usually operate at. So that's $50,000. So now they're at $386,000 of net profit. So they went overnight. They didn't add a dime in marketing or advertising dollars. They simply added a process. They trained on it. They role played on it. They weren't afraid to hold their people accountable to deliver world-class customer service. And at the end of the day, everybody signs an employment agreement, gets a handbook, and says it's their duty and obligation to go into a home and be a professional and just show them what they've got going on. Well, damn it, if you go inside someone's house, and every tech and every training I've ever done said, Brad, 8 or 9 out of 10 of those systems are infested with growth, which we know is mold, and you're not bringing it to the homeowner's attention, then shame on you. You're not doing what's expected of you. Yep. And all you've got to do when you go into a house, and my team is trained to come in and simply tell a homeowner, Mr. Jonathan, before I start my process today of this precision tune-up, man, if I come across any concerns today with your comfort system, would you like me to bring it to your attention or keep it to myself? Every homeowner is going to say, well, yeah, bring it to my attention. Now, do they want you to find $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 worth of stuff wrong with their system? Absolutely not. But we talked to you about if we went into a doctor and we were sick, we wouldn't tell them, hey, man, keep it to yourself if it's bad. We need to bring it to their attention. And then we simply go to the homeowner once we find that disgustingness going on, and we come up and we say, hey, Mr. Jonathan, do you have a minute? I want to show you something I've got going on downstairs or wherever it's at. If it's in an attic or a crawl space, take a video using Mr. Jonathan, the customer's name, so they don't think it was something that you found 2 weeks ago at a different person's house. You bring them to the system, you point to the disgustingness growth, which is mold, and show them. And I guarantee you the homeowners will say, oh my God, what is that? Disgusting. Is that mold? Mr. John, I'm not a mold expert. Can't tell you what it is other than it's microbial growth. And every time there's a call for heat or cool in your house, you and your family are breathing it because it's blowing through your ductwork.
What is the percentage you think of equipment that people go into that can find that?
Every training I do, every technician, I've done this in front of thousands. And every time they say, Brad, it's no less than 8 out of 10. Most of them say, Brad, every one of them's got growth going on. So out of this small company, $1 million company, 4 houses a day for the tech, 320, we're talking about, 80, 90% of them at least having that growth going on. So we're talking 280 plus of them have it. So it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to bring it to their attention.
Is it also a mindset thing that, people are like, well, I found the capacitor is out and this is going to be a couple $100 service ticket. And my duty is to just take care of that customer and get them up and running without trying to screw them over, so to present them something that could be $1,500, $2,500 extra, I don't think is right. Like, is that also like some issues that are coming on? Are they not understanding the bigger picture of like, it is, you're helping solve future problems, both inside of that house, like with their equipment, but also just with the health of the family that's there?
Man, I go back to this. I treat people the way I want to be treated.
Yeah, 100%.
If you come to my house, Jonathan, as a technician, you find my contactor or capacitor bad, and you're just going to swap that out for the quickest fix to get on and churn and burn and get to the next one. But deep inside there could be something else causing that capacitor to go bad. Shame on you if you're not digging deeper to find out, because guess what's going to happen? The shit's going to break down in 6 months or whatever again, and you're coming out, and then the technician that comes out and says, well, there's a bigger problem than just the capacitor. And they tell them what's going on that's deeper, that's going to cost more to be done. And then I'm, as a consumer, is going to say, well, why the hell didn't Jonathan tell me that when he was here and just fixed the capacitor 6 months ago?
Right.
So it's a big circle of life where owners aren't possibly telling their technicians, man, it is, take your time. Spend the time in the home and build. There's a few things we need to do when we go inside the house so that when we get to the point that we talk to them about them investing in what we have brought to their attention, you've got to build some things. 80% of objections are overcome if I build trust and value with you when I come to your home. And that's simple questions. Instead of, saying, hey, Mr. John, I'm here to do that tune-up from Home Service, Hustle Heating and Cooling.
Yeah.
Now, where's your heat pump? Just show me that thermostat. And then I say, hey, Jonathan, man, before we get started, who in your house suffers from allergy or asthma? Who in your house has ever complained about a hot or cold spot in the house? How long have you lived in the house? Are you planning on living in this house for the rest of your life? Is this your forever home? Just a few simple questions shows the empathy that I have, that I'm here to deliver world-class customer service with a servant mentality. So that when I do come up to you and I bring you down and show you that disgusting, this mold going on in the system, and I say, hey, Jonathan, man, as part of my tune-up, it's not included to pull this blower wheel, clean it, put it back in, make it look brand new. It's going to be an extra $485 to do that. And they're like, oh my God. But you know what? When I put that in, guess what? Guess what's going to happen when I clean it and put it back in? It's going to grow back. And they'll tell you that. Hey, man, do me a favor. And I point right to this where it says mold spores and all the germs and viruses and pathogens. I open it up and I simply press a video and say, hey, Mr. Jonathan, check this out for me.
COVID-19 wasn't the first pandemic in our lifetimes, and unfortunately, it probably won't be the last.
Check out these 3 short videos, Jonathan. It's no more than 5 minutes. When I'm done, when we sit back upstairs, I'll show you how I can install this product today. I've got one left on the truck, and I can do it for $62 a month, and you and your family never have to worry about it again. Guess what's going to happen? Some will, some won't, so what? You can lay your head down at night and simply say, you know what, man? I showed them what they had going on. They've got mold going on inside the home. If they want to address it, they'll address it. But shame on you if you come to my home to do a tune-up and you've heard my story. My daughter Haley has an autoimmune disease where she's got to have chemo 5-6 months the rest of her life. And she'll never have an immune system, so she's very susceptible to getting sick. If you came to my house to do a tune-up and you had this book and you discovered growth going on everywhere, I'd be pissed the hell off if you didn't simply hand me this book and say, Mr. Hone, my boss is going to call tomorrow to make sure you watch it, to make sure I showed you this video. He's going to fire me if I don't show you this. I'd be pissed off if you have this technology at your fingertips and you didn't simply just say, hey, man, I got something to address that situation you got going on. My goodness, it's it's lazy.
Yep.
It's lazy.
I think that's the word.
It's lazy. It is a little bit of fear that we are afraid that if I've got 4 techs, this is the way I feel of it. And my great mentor, Scott, told me this years ago. He goes, Brad, he goes, think about it this way. You've got 20 technicians. 10 of them have no more than $100 average ticket. They are doing your homeowners disservice by going in and churning and burning and being lazy as hell and not doing what's expected of them. He goes, I'd much rather you not have those 10 that probably have a terrible attitude walk in and the homeowner can feel it as soon as they walk in the home. I'd rather have the 10 technicians that are delivering that servant mentality every time they go in the home. And you know what? We can rest our head at night knowing that we've done the right thing.
Yeah. You mentioned the servant mentality. I think it comes down to the core of your, the culture of your business. And I think deep down, most of these home service HVAC contractors that I've known and got to know over the last 9 years, the largest majority of them truly care about their team and care about their customers. I see a lot of mistakes made, and I think it's fear of the unknown, and they get stuck. But I think when you have these technicians, or I think any business where you've got these employees that are never going to care about your business or your customers the way that you do, but it's still your responsibility to teach them, to train them, to work on them, and at the very least, to make sure that if they're not the right fit and aren't going to be the right fit, to let them go and get them somewhere where they're going to have whatever success is to them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's as leaders, it is hard damn work to hold people accountable. My 14, 15 sales guys, every day they've got to send me a message of how many scrubbers they shipped today and what they do yesterday. What do you got today? What do you got tomorrow? If I'm not holding them accountable to that for 2-3 months till it becomes repetitious behavior, they're going to be mediocre at best. And I don't know many people that wake up today and say, you know what, dog, I think I want to be mediocre today.
Right.
Well, if you want to be mediocre, you're not going to be on my team. And because we're in the service industry and there's a lot of people that depend on us bringing our A game every damn day. And you know what? There's a lot of other competing products out there that compete with us. There is nobody that touches what we do and what our team brings to the table. And that is caring about your company, your customers, and your associates. And we're going to bring our A game every damn day.
So I want to save that part, what y'all do, how you come out, how you do the training, what that looks like for the end. Let's talk about some of the products, right? So yep. I'm super grateful for the products that you sent to my family and I. And one of those is the Pure Clean behind you there. So let's just talk about what are some of the different things that these techs or sales guys could be talking about or offering to customers. How do they work? What do they do? Let's just get it out there.
So our technology does 4 things. You've heard me say it a couple times now. We are the most powerful air and surface purification the world's ever discovered. Safest, most powerful. We do 4 things. We reduce germs and viruses, pathogens, you name it, in the air in under 60 seconds and on surfaces. To the point that, the first thing I do when I walk in is I plug in our mobile device. It's the size of a radar detector, an old school radar detector. You and I have been in law enforcement. Yep. Isn't it funny? We're talking about those things that I never had one, by the way, because I didn't speed. But the first thing I do when I go into my hotel room is I plug that in. And then I go and leave and go to the gym or go to dinner or whatever and let that start working and crushing the germs and viruses in that hotel in the air and on surfaces. Okay. So the second thing we do is we get rid of odors. When I first got introduced to this technology years ago, I relocated to Nashville, bought a house, dog door, golden retriever. Sammy could come and go as she pleased. She went out one night, got sprayed by a skunk, came back inside, destroyed the house. 2 months it reeked of skunk, but I did not have a scrubber yet, had not been introduced to it yet. I go out to Manassas, Virginia, and train with one of our sister companies that were badasses. They introduced me to Scrubber and said, you've got to implement this into your business. I go back to my company and roll it out to my techs. And over the 2 months that we rolled it out and had the air scrubber training people come in, we sold 3 scrubbers over 2 months. We were in 3,200 homes and we sold 3. We sucked. Well, guess what? It wasn't the technician's fault. Guess whose fault it was? Mine. Because I didn't create a process. I did not create positive behaviors, repetitious behavior for them to be successful. So 2 or 3 months goes by, Sammy goes back out and gets sprayed by a skunk again. Do you think I installed a scrubber at my house when it was introduced to me as a true HVAC professional? Hell no, I don't change my filters like I'm supposed to. So she gets sprayed again. I put the scrubber in. Within 2 days, the smell was gone. I go to myself, oh my God, I got to figure out how to get my team talking about this. And it was simple. I implemented that follow-up happy call. I called it my rehash program. And we simply called a ton of customers every day and just checked to make sure that the techs were doing what was expected of them. As part of the handbook that they signed, that they will follow the processes and procedures and deliver the world-class customer service. Were we talking about air scrubber?
Right.
And that's when it took off and I blew it up. That air scrubber and the process we put together changed that company around from losing a ton of money, over $100,000 a month it was losing.
So you're talking about the air scrubber. So talk about obviously we've got a lot of HVAC contractors that will be listening to this, right? My clients and prospects of mine, but there's also a lot of people that I'm watching online right now. J-Dub gave us a shout out because he heard us talking about him. But there's a lot of people on here that are watching that are just family members of mine and just regular old people that aren't in this industry. Talk about what is the air scrubber? What does it do? How does it work? And then let's go to the next product.
All right. So crush germs and viruses in the air and on surfaces. We get rid of odors big time. It gets to the root base cause of that bacteria causing odor, and we crush it and minimize it, and it's gone. Mitigate airborne particulates. Anybody that has asthma, allergy, COPD, sleep apnea, God forbid, an autoimmune or cancer, their symptoms are worse inside the house because of all that dust particulate that's floating around in the air, that the majority of it never gets to the return filter. So we have low-level ionization that clumps up that particulate, that dust, and makes it heavier and drops it out of the breathing zone, allowing you to breathe better. So that's the third thing that we do. And the fourth thing we do is when you ask any technician what's the biggest contributing factor to a system breaking down and having a no heat or no cool, they will, all of them say airflow, lack of maintenance, the filters are dirty. Well, if we're helping get rid of dust out of the air, ionizing it and dropping it. We took a MERV 8 filter and made it operate at a MERV 14 efficiency. We make filtration systems work up to 20, 30 times better than they've ever worked before. So now we're protecting that new system install that might be $18,000, $25,000. We're allowing it to breathe better and not choke and gag on itself because filters are clogging up so fast. Now, do you still need to change the filters? Absolutely. But those are the 4 things we do. We crush germs and viruses, air, surfaces, get rid of odors, get rid of particulate, protect equipment. So much so that we are in the Cleveland Clinic. We're in the start of our 4th year, I believe it is now, where they put our technology and they're operating in emergency rooms in the Cleveland Clinic program. And you can find all this information in our back office at activepure.com. We are we are air scrubber with Active Pure. That's what we call our technology. And you can find everything I talk about in our back office in that website. But so much so that if you give your technology to the Cleveland Clinic and you don't prove what you do within the first 6 months, 12 months, they kick you out of the program. We've been in 4 years. That's how powerful our technology is.
Activepure.com, right?
Yep. Nobody is even in the same arena with us.
I'm just going to add that on a banner here so people can click the link. All right. So the air scrubber is there's one that can go on the actual air conditioning equipment, and then is the one behind you a different version?
Yep. That's a portable unit that is great for boiler applications, offices where people, classrooms where people want to show that the technology is working. We have a ducted product, the residentially and commercial, that goes into the supply or the plenum and gets ducted. Our residential product is 24 volt. You use a separate 40 VA transformer. It's wired hot, and it is in the ductwork, and absolutely amazing. We're creating that technology that flows through the ductwork, over the coils, over the blower wheels, out the vents into this space right here, and is crushing germs and viruses in the air and on surfaces. So that's the ducted product. Okay. That is probably 90% of our
sale
production.
Okay.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
And is that because that technology has just been around longer and some of this other stuff's newer?
No, it's because a technician is the best way to take care of a home is to get it in the ductwork where it is producing. Now, a portable unit, you're going to have to clean it once in a while, take it apart. I always laugh. I remember the set it and forget it rotisserie chicken machine that a ducted one, you just set it and forget it. It's got a 2-year warranty on the UV cell that creates the technology. It's not a traditional UV light. Only 3% of our UV light escapes out of the honeycomb. So we don't have to worry about damaging flex duct, ductboard, wiring, plastic, nothing. But that is the majority of our sales, is because it's so easy to put in the ductwork for a technician.
Well, I'm going to tell you, like, obviously you got to do a quick call and talk to my wife earlier, but I will tell you that Pure Clean behind you there, it's been completely mind blowing because, like here in Dallas, it gets humid, and we've been kind of in that hot, cold area. Now it's just been hot, but like when it was transitioning, that the homes were getting humid, and our Boston Terrier that we have, she puts off, like, we call it a Dorito smell because her paws smell like the orange Doritos. And so it's just got that dog smell. And when she plugged that device in, like literally I was at the kids' football practice, and she was calling me going, "Oh my God, I'm down on my hands and knees trying to smell the rugs and things." She goes, "The smell is completely gone everywhere in the living room." And she just couldn't believe it. So, like, what is happening there?
We are absolutely getting to that root-based cause, that bacteria causing odor, and we're destroying it. We are crushing that, not just masking it with a funky, good-smelling odor. We get to the bacteria and destroy it so that the odors are gone. So the only bad thing I see to that is if you cook bacon and like the smell of bacon in the house for 2-3 weeks, it's gone. That ain't happening no more. You're going to have to smell it for the 45 minutes after it's done cooking, and then it's gone until you cook it again.
Right.
But that's the only downfall to it is, because most of the time when you cook, the odors can be pretty bad, especially if it's your significant other that's not a very good cook and tries cooking.
Talk about the study at the Kansas State or Kansas University study.
Kansas State University is huge for the food industry, and our technology shows that, and I've got a slide that I can show, but everybody can go to activepure.com and you can go to Air Scrubber by AES, BYAERUS, Air Scrubber by AES, and see that we are attacking germs and viruses on surfaces. We show that we eliminate 93-point-something% within 3 hours on surfaces. So let's say you go into the kitchen and you're cutting up meat tonight, and you know what? You ask one of your kids to clean that up, and they don't clean it very well. Okay. Within 3 hours, we have started eliminating up to 93% of those bad things that are happening on that surface. Within 6 hours and then 7 hours, we have eliminated those germs and viruses on that tabletop up to 99.98%.
That is so crazy to wrap my head around.
It is absolutely amazing. So,
and I don't know a single homeowner Like when you put it that way, Brad, a single homeowner that is just not completely 1000% cash strapped and couldn't afford it, that would say, no, I don't want that in my home.
You know what? I've worked with some contractors lately that don't offer financing. So, Seth, you need to step up your game. Contact me. We need to work together. And because technicians, another reason techs don't do this and are very successful at it, because they believe in their head that let's say it's $1,500, just to give a round number. They believe that the homeowner can't afford that. And I look at it as, with my situation with Haley at my home, I would pay you $1,000 a month to have this technology in my house to protect her. But when we pitch it in a sense that it's only, depending if it's a 12, 18, 36-month deal, I could be doing this for $85 a month. I can afford that. And then moving forward, changing it out every 24 to 30 months, is 30 some cents a day. Peace of mind to take care of my family all day long. And I've been I was a contractor and used this technology for 15 years. And then I went to Ferguson and we utilized it there, and it was our best product. And then I joined the manufacturer 6 years ago, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because now I can share it with homeowners and business owners. I mean, there's a company called the Paramount Group, which is a company that owns their own real estate across the country. And I forget how many million square foot they have in their portfolio. But their executive VP of facility management, Joe Zabo, contacted me and said, Brad, I want to do some testing in our lobbies of our 53rd Avenue of America's building. And again, all this stuff is on our website to prove that what I'm talking about is not just something fabricated and made up. And I forgot to mention this. We're the only FDA cleared device that has been cleared as a Class 2 medical device. That doesn't happen by testing our product in our garage in a little laboratory and saying, Jonathan and Brad's indoor air quality product does this.
Right.
We sent it away and has been vetted at, the University of Texas Medical Base, NASA, University of Colorado, Kansas State University. All these places have vetted our technology for years. My owner, Joe Urso, has invested so much, millions of dollars in third-party testing so that nobody can ever come back and say that we don't do what we do. So I forgot where I was.
My wife painted my youngest kid's room last night and got him all this new furniture and was redesigning his room. And she was concerned with the smells of the fumes from the paint, because she had been in there painting all day. And she went and put the Pure Clean in the bedroom. And like literally within a couple hours, she was like, there's no smell. Everything's completely gone. And, he's slept perfectly in there. And it blows my mind how quickly it works.
So think about that. Those that paint smell is VOCs, volatile organic compounds, that are being off-gassed. New carpeting. Think about parents that are bringing in a brand new infant and they do a nursery for them with new bedding, new cribs, new carpeting, new paint. Our technology gets rid of those VOCs in a matter of minutes. So back to Joe Zabo, Paramount Group, 100. So in the commercial industry, if your building is gold or platinum LEED certified, you are the best of the best green certified buildings. 100% of their buildings are either gold or platinum certified LEED.
Okay.
We did before and after testing. It was, I want to say it was 2 weeks. Don't quote me on this, but our study that's online shows it. We did 2-week testing beforehand in the TVOCs, total VOCs, in that lobby area of that 53rd Avenue high rise were X amount bad. Put our product in 2 weeks later, same biological testing going on, and we reduced it to over 80% those TVOCs in that space sustained for weeks. So, hey, nobody can now. Hey, are there other technologies out there that people are going to go with? Absolutely, man. But are we the best? Without a shadow of a doubt, man. Nobody comes close.
Talk about the portable. Because you're friends with old JD, and he's had some health issues over the years, and you put that in his RV.
So John Daly was diagnosed with a form of cancer some years back. And you know what? I'll send you the picture of John and I on his bus with the mobile device that, you know, we've been talking about, that is the portable, no bigger than this. We mounted one at the driver's seat of his Prevost bus because John's his own driver. He doesn't have a driver for him. He drives his bus everywhere because he doesn't like to fly. And we put one back by the headboard. And we are creating that active peer technology because people will come and go on his bus when he goes to an event. You know, people will come over, but we knew we had to protect him. So we put these on his bus to help protect him. And he absolutely loves them. Him and I were texting 2 weeks ago. He was in Nashville to do his charity event. And I was like, John, man, we need to update and put new products on your bus. And while we were there, John Schneider, Dukes of Hazzard, Smallville, he was there. And he's like, man, what? My brother was like, hey, John, man, why don't you put these on your bus like John Daly's got? So now Schneider's got them on his bus also.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other device that my wife is actively working on right now as we speak. The device that goes on the wash machine. Talk through what it is and what it does.
All right.
I mean, how much money could this possibly save someone, an average household?
Absolutely. So we have a video that I'm going to share. I'm going to send you the video so that you can upload to your website. But before that, we have a mini split application that goes over top a wall hung air handler for the contractors out there that you can wire into the S1, S2 port, wired hot. Absolutely amazing. Your techs will love you because they'll those blower wheel tune-ups that they do on a wall hung air handler mini split are disgusting. Don't have to worry about it no more. So the Laundry Pro, if you have sensitive skin, eczema, all kinds of problems with, you know, clothes, your skin, we have a device that hangs above your wash machine, plugs into an outlet, and it's a simple install. Lauren's installing it right now, and Christy has installed ours because Jonathan and I are not mechanically inclined. Bless their hearts, right? But what it does is cold water comes in from the outside of the house that normally plugs into the back of your wash machine. Then there's a hot water supply. Hot water can be gone. You don't need hot water anymore. Cold water into our device, cold water out to the wash machine. You no longer need fabric softener or laundry detergent because we clean your clothes with our technology that is hydrogen peroxide on steroids. And we are cleaning those clothes and you don't have to worry about it. So sensitive skin, you know, you remember, you know, when you go and buy a towel brand new and you bring it home and it's so fluffy and nice, within 3-4 washes, it's hard and disgusting. It's because the laundry soap never gets extracted completely out. If you have a front wash machine, the bottom rubber gasket gets absolutely disgustingly filled with bacteria and mold because the laundry detergent is terrible. So expensive. So hot water and laundry detergent, the average home is saving over, I think we have figured $588 a year alone just in a normal family that does one load a day. Well, I know a lot of families that are doing 2-3 loads a day. If you've got kids, kids with sports, you know, I've got a gentleman that's become a friend that was a technician or is a technician at Oliver Heating in Pennsylvania. His sons are state championship wrestlers. They wrestle in college now. But he told me, Brad, he goes, his name is Mike Bronzo. He says, Brad, my sons were getting ringworm from their headgear. The kids at wrestling, they were all getting emphantaga and ringworm. He was putting their headgear over top their vent so the active pure technology would blow out the vent and help keep the headgear clean. And then he put the Laundry Pro in, and he said, Brad, sometimes we would have to wash their clothes because I remember what it was like when I played. My football gear would stay in my locker at the stadium for months at a time before I'd take it home and clean it. We're disgusting. And he said, Brad, I can throw those clothes in one cycle and they're clean. He goes, it blew our minds. Sometimes we'd have to run them through 2-3 times. Yeah. So that Laundry Pro 2.0, absolutely amazing. And within the next 3 months, we're launching our a third version of it that is going to have all kinds of great features included in it to upgrade from what it currently is.
So is that you're saying 90% of y'all's production and sales is from the application that is added inside of the ducking and things of that nature? So is that like you said, because the contractors are kind of selling it for you, the direct to consumer obviously isn't y'all's big focus on some of the other products, and you're relying on the companies, the home service companies to kind of do the selling for you. And that one's easier to kind of talk through. But what are, I just feel that people are missing out on things that, could easily be, that do a lot of traveling. They're in hotel rooms, you've got the portable devices, and then, you've got the ones that go on the washing machine, like how much money you could save. Cause I mean, the laundry detergent right now, like those pods, like I'm spending $30 and $40 to go get, a container. And it seems like every time I turn around, my wife's like, I need you to, we need laundry detergent. So it's like, that adds up quickly.
Yeah. It gets pretty extensive pretty quick. So so we believe in protecting the HVAC contractor. Okay. To this day, still, the ducted product that is 90% of our wheelhouse. You're not going to find it on online being sold. You've got to go through wholesale distribution to get it from us. Okay. So you got to go through that wholesale distributor to get it. Now we have different divisions within our organization that are franchises that can sell the portable products, but the 90% of what we do is the ducted product. You won't find it online unless it's on eBay. Someone puts one up online, and we have a compliance division that reaches out to them when they come to our attention. It's like whack-a-mole. Being a former law enforcement officer that you and I are, we arrest somebody and put them in jail. They get back out and they go right back to doing it.
Oh, you arrested some of the same people?
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was only me.
They'd go to Dallas. They'd come to Cleveland. It didn't matter.
I'd arrest people. I would arrest people, Brad, and literally forgot that I'd even changed. Like the next day, it was on the next shift. And I'm like, how is this guy out of jail? Like, I just put him in jail last night. And like, how did he even get bonded out or see the judge already? This is mind blowing stuff.
Hey, Jonathan, the jail was crowded, so we emergency released him. And then he went back out because it was cold and got arrested again because it was warmer in the jail than it was on the street. We had that a lot.
I don't miss those days, Brad. But listen, how does I tell you what, I'm going to do some rapid fire questions with you. And then typically we'll close it out right after that. But then I want to talk about how people can reach you. What does the training look like? So let me go through some rapid fire questions with Brad. Just shoot from the hip. Childhood hero.
Man. Few of them. My mom. I was a big Larry Bird fan, even though I was a Cavs fan. I loved Larry Bird. So I'm gonna go with those two.
Mom and Larry.
Yep.
Beach or mountains?
Dude, come on, man. That's a tough one. Now, I'm gonna go mountains. I was just in Big Sky, Montana. If you haven't done the Beartooth Pass, it's on the bucket list.
Okay. I'll have to get with you and hear about that. And Lauren hears about that. I guess we'll be on our way. Famous person that you would invite to the dinner table. They could be dead or alive. Who you want to have dinner with?
You know what, man? I think I think it would be Tiger Woods.
That would be a good one.
There's a lot of ups and downs, and yeah. You want to know why? Because he wants to be the best at every damn thing he does.
Yep. Yeah, he's got that Kobe mentality.
Yep.
Most adventurous thing that Brad's ever done.
So 2 things I talk about. In Hawaii, the North Shore of Honolulu, I got into a shark cage with had to be 100 mako sharks swimming all over the place. Absolutely breathtaking, awesome. And then Las Vegas International Speedway, I raced a NASCAR there.
I bet that was fun.
That was awesome.
Something surprising that most people don't know about you.
Dude, I love to play pickleball. I play pickleball with my daughter, Kate, and her college friends. And, I always fabricate and tell them that I first told them, I said, you guys don't realize this, but I'm on the over 50 pickleball world-class team. And I like to mess with them. So I like to think that I still have a little bit of athletic ability, but pickleball doesn't, you don't have to be real athletic.
The sport is really taking off. I was at the gym. I mean, it was probably a year ago now, but I looked up on TV and they had ESPN on, and they had was it Andre Agassi playing what was his name? Andy Roddick and in pickleball at Hard Rock down in Miami. I was like, well, this is really taking off.
I saw it on Twitter. It was cool.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
All right. So you've had a couple different gigs throughout your career, but if you had to make a sudden career change right now, what would it be?
I want to mow greens.
Mow greens. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't even know what you're talking about. Obviously, I've golfed my whole life. But.
I love to golf. I'm a member here at Firestone Country Club in Akron, and someday, one day a week, I'm just going to hop on a mower and mow greens and have no worries in the world.
I love it. And the last one is, what's Brad's belief in aliens?
You know what? Years ago, I would have said no damn way. But dude, I'm telling you what, man, it's just too much stuff is happening to make me think it is possible. Yeah, it's possible for sure.
I mean, hopefully we're not, when you look around, we're eating Tide Pods and some of the stuff we're doing. Hopefully we're not the only thing that exists out there. But all right, Brad, let's talk about how do people reach you? What does training look like? How did somebody get you into their organization? Like, let's talk about the whole program. So,
I'm up to 15 sales guys right now nationwide. I've got 2 in SoCal, 1 in NoCal. I brought on an amazing group of gentlemen. Most recently, Brad Shear was a regional director for service experts on the West Coast. He's in the West for me. But I've got so many great guys. If you reach out to us, one of our guys can probably get into your organization within the next 2 to 3 weeks tops. Okay. And the reason we did this and went with a bigger sales team is if I was covering the New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia area, and I went in and met with you, Jonathan, to talk about Scrubber, you were like, oh, heck yes. When can you come back and train my team? Hey, man, I can get back in 6 to 8 weeks because my territory was so big.
Right.
Well, the luster is gone. So now we are guaranteeing we're going to get into your organization. It's probably within a week, but we could do Zoom meetings to talk about the technology to get you to say, okay, this is someone I want to partner with. And then the training can happen with you so fast. So that's what it looks like. The training is no more than an hour long. And we're going to crush the value proposition that we bring to the table. You need to be spiffing your, associates to be doing this because, like I said, I thank God in the morning, I choose my attitude, and then I have a chance to go give myself a raise every day I go inside someone's house. And you and I, as law enforcement officers, we got a raise once every 3 years when our contract was negotiated. And I remember, I think our January 1st raise was like 33 cents an hour. And I'm like, you have got to, looking back on it, I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So it is a quick turnaround process. And I'll have another 4 to 5 sales associates on board with me within the next 3 to 4 months. So the entire country is going to be covered.
I love it. Brad, the technology that you represent and that you guys are behind there at Air Scrubber is absolutely phenomenal. I've heard you talk about it. Like, I know it saved and made a huge impact during COVID for a lot of families around the country that were extremely grateful and thankful for what the technology was doing. And now I think it just needs to be an everyday household item that people have inside their homes, period. So,
yeah. And I think we're barely scratching the surface. I would have to venture to say that, less than 1% of homes have some type of indoor air quality in their home.
I think you're probably, that or lower.
Correct.
Unfortunately. Yeah. Brad, thank you so much, my friend, for spending the time with us today. And you and I will be in contact, and you're going to come here to Dallas soon to y'all's headquarters, and we'll do something live and give everybody a little something else of what's going on.
I put my personal cell phone number in the chat box.
Sweet.
So if anybody wants to reach out and get something scheduled ASAP, all you got to do is call me. And do you share? Does that get shared with everybody? Do you want my email address also?
So what we'll do is we'll send out an email probably one day, the end of this week. And we'll give everybody your contact information, your email, and guys, like those of you out there listening live, and then we'll send out the replay of this. Like, understand that, like he just said, within a week or two, like we'll get the training set up for you guys, and it's not just hey, here's our products and services, go out and sell it. Like, I don't like to use the word, holding hands, but like they will guide your team to make sure that they know how to educate the customers, how to present it the right way, and how to, ask those open-ended questions that they're not just like sales techniques. Like, you're being genuine with the customers to say, if I find something, is it okay to present it to you? And then showing the customer what it is. And then by saying, look, we offer this service to take this off your blower wheel, to clean it, to sterilize it, to spray stuff on it, to kill it right now. But it will grow back if there's not something on it that's going to continuously take care of the problem. And so I think a lot of people are scared of sales, or, a lot of techs are not necessarily great communicators, but I don't think that that's something that cannot be overcome. And so it's training, it's repetition. And that's what Brad and his team will do for you guys. Absolutely.
Hey, remember this, contractors out there, don't buy into the fact that we don't have time for training because it's getting hot and we don't have time to train our individuals. Now's the time to do it, because you're in more homes than you've ever been before with the heat coming. What a great opportunity to show this technology in a simple video book that the homeowner can be like, I need to be a part of that. Let's do it.
And Brad will send those books to you guys to be able to educate the customers of them. I got several here at my office now. So, Brad, thank you so much. And as always, man, it's a privilege to get to spend time with you and pick that brain of yours.
All right, brother. I would look forward to seeing you hopefully the week of June 24th in Dallas.
I appreciate you. Thank you, man.
All right, buddy. Thanks.